Hi, it's Anna Jules, and this is the debrief about our day one property tour. Starting in Halifax, we drove towards West Sable River, and that was where our first property was to check out. Now, before arriving, that was my absolute favorite pick for the day, so I was very excited about it, and that's because it has a sandy beach on the ocean. I mean, how could you go wrong, right? There's even a pond, you might say, that's formed from uh, when the tide comes up. Some of it goes into a little pond right on the property, and I thought that was amazing too. So arriving there, just full of excitement, and checked out the land first. Went as far as we could to the beach area, and you could hear, let's say, the waves crashing in on the beach. We didn't get as far as the sand because it was so wet. Now there's snow that has melted, and we started the day with freezing rain, and it was still raining, and so there's just like everything was waterlogged. So even though I was wearing boots, I had soggy socks. So not the best way to start a long day with wet feet. And just considering what that might mean for that property. And there were tons of pickers. So think of rose bushes, just like thorny plants basically everywhere. The barn, which in its day would have been amazing with a little chicken coop, probably maybe goats or something like that, which is right up our alley, had holes in the roof and was on one side was like completely rotten, like absolutely would need to be torn down. So instead of it being an asset, it's kind of like has to get deconstructed before something gets built on that, let's say, cement foundation. So that didn't look so great. So we went in the house, again thinking great square footage, the pictures looked great. And as my partner said, I think those pictures were taken about 40 years ago. So it was a no-go. Like, we couldn't even really consider it. It was not well maintained at all. It's an older house, more than 100 years old, and basically you would have to fix everything, at least a little bit, everything. So we took a deep breath and said, well, that's the favorite one off the list, because it's, if it doesn't have a house that's livable, it really isn't going to work for us. So let me circle back. We are looking for a property that is about 15 acres or more, and has a 2 or 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, already livable, as in we can do renovations, we can add on stuff, but this has to be move-in ready for us. And we're also looking to have chickens down in the future, perhaps goats. We want to have greenhouses, build a community kitchen, have a big retreat center, in the sense of like a place where we can do yoga, energy healing, sound baths, all of those things, and space to build dwelling units or studio apartments, you might call them, or cabins that are separate, independent living spaces for people with autism who have low support needs. So that means that they are mostly independent, but they still benefit from having some supports depending on who they are and what they need. So we would like to have space to be able to build those studio apartments. So we are looking for something, I guess, a little bit niche. On to property number 2. So property number 2, I forgot my camera, of course, in the car. And the house itself was more than 100 years old and in very good condition. So modernized on all the levels, like new windows, new floors, new plumbing, new wiring, all of the things. In addition, has a greenhouse already, has a workshop, already, and it has access to, I'm trying to remember which one is, I think that one has access to a river and a pond. So we are a little bit concerned about the pond having a lot of mosquitoes, and it is, I believe it is swimmable and skatable at some points during the winter. So that's of interest. One of the drawbacks of that property was it seemed like there was actually so much water on the property that maybe there wouldn't be space to build any of these independent living spaces. So that's like, even though there's a lot of winds, if it can't expand with us, then I'm not sure if that's really a strong foundation. So moving on to property number 3. So this also was on the ocean, and it basically is 100% cleared. That means there's almost no trees on the property. Now there's trees on the property to the right and to the left. We walked down a pretty steep grade to the ocean and was beautiful. Gotta be honest. So it's an inlet and absolutely possible to put your kayak in there. And then we explored the interior, which this home, they actually don't know when it was built, maybe more than 200 years ago. And you can really tell the stairs are, it seems like it came out of a ship. Like it's very, very small. I don't know how to explain it. It's like mini stairs, but they, obviously they go up like a full flight of stairs, but they're very small, like you can barely fit. Which is curious. And among other things, there's some modernizations there, but a lot of unfinished things. So even though there's good maintenance, I feel like the property is not a good fit for us because there isn't trees. And I think it's really important, the nature aspect, the wildlife, supporting the land in its natural state, and connecting with the land is a big part of the retreat center. So that one didn't seem like a win. And then the last one that we went to, I got really excited. It was just about like almost dark when we started walking into the forest. So it was, and it's been raining all day here. So I just loved it, to be honest with you. It's like a fairy forest. There's moss everywhere. It was, even in the dusk, it was light, and so many different places where you could see just nature in its cycles. You can smell the pine needles or the leaves that are decomposing on the ground. You can see the cycle of new trees and new undergrowth, and then old ones that have fallen down, and it was just beautiful. It's quite a walk to the back. This has access to Roseway River, which is also beautiful. I found it to be quite high at the time, with a pretty strong current, so it is kayakable most of the year. But as with any river, you have to know what you're doing. And then the area surrounding it, I think this one is 10 acres, so a good amount of space. Interesting enough, there are so many trees, and there's almost no area that is cleared. So for us to build something, that is actually another thing to consider. And with this property, unfortunately, somebody recently was interested in buying it and discovered that there's a problem with the septic, so they backed out. And so now it's on the file or whatever that there's a problem with the septic. So that's something to consider. Then we went inside, and this is a very odd house in that it feels kind of like it doesn't belong in a forest. It looks like it's a museum house. It has a grand entrance and a grand stairways and a grand, like 2-story, huge ceiling, all wood with open beams and stained glass windows, and almost like, yeah, all I can say is it's like a museum. It's like a lot of open space. So one of the concerns we have actually is that some of the floors are not straight, are not level, in a interesting, warped kind of way. So exploring what that means for the structure of the house. It's a very big house. It's currently empty, and just thinking about what we would use this space for, how would it kind of align with our dream for the retreat center. So some concerns we have is that there are so many trees. Oh yeah, one of the wonderful thing is there's a lady there who, well, let's say the previous owner has labeled all of the plants in the garden area. There's like a reflection pond, a little zen area, very, very cool. Very mossy. Everything is really, really mossy, and it's not too far out of town. So for some amenities and things like that, that's good to think about. So our biggest problem with that location is that there's so many trees, which just goes back to the fact that our best property would have some cleared area and some trees sort of in balance. And I did not get very much sleep last night because of the flight coming in late. And even though so many things worked out amazingly for good flow, and I absolutely love that, today has been jam-packed and stressful driving. My partner and I are taking turns, so that's, of course, he's amazing. I appreciate all of his love and support. And this has been, honestly, day one, I thought we might be putting an offer in the house, in one of these houses at the end of the day. So I am going through a bit of disappointment and kind of like reality check. We talked to the realtor and I said, the thing is, of course, the pictures are exactly what the house is, but when you're there in the moment, you're like, oh, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. There's some things that you can kind of gloss over, and when you're there in person, if it's a problem, it really stands out. Now, house number two, I just want to give a shout out to all those people that are working hard at selling their houses. These people are phenomenal. They put little directions everywhere about how to access the basement and how to change from windows to screens in their sunroom area. And they left little cookies for us, and they just went the extra mile 100%. Now, I don't know if that property is going to be a good fit for us, but I just want to say that is commendable. Yeah. So, also I was revived and got a second wind from this carrot cake. It's so good. I'm going to save a little bit for tomorrow. Even though day one was not the 100% success that I had hoped it to be, we'll still consider these properties in the future. We have 4 more lined up for tomorrow, and it's not as much driving, that's for sure. So I'm excited to be able to get to know the Yarmouth area. So before we were more in the Shelburne area, and that is a different county. The Yarmouth area is something that we are definitely interested in, and there's lots of ocean front, and we'll also be taking a look at a lake property. So this is our update, and if this is news to you, I just want to say, comment, reply, reach out to me. It's an exciting time for this inner dream that I've had for quite a while to come into the outer world. And as you know, when these things happen, there's a stage, a process of the creation process of making your dreams become your reality. And in a way, like flying here is part of the creation process, having a realtor is part of the creation process, and looking for properties is all part of it. And when we find the property that's the right property, I know it's just going to click just like it did in our last home. So being here and being in this now in a way is just super exciting, because I know that I am in the creating stage. So for those of you in 2026 and going to the year of the fire horse and feeling that action energy in your solar plexus, go for it. I just want to say go for it. And if you can't go for it right now, follow me and follow someone else who's in that creative process and is really making their dreams become reality, because it's contagious. Yeah. Can't wait to tell you what happens day number 2. Thanks. Thanks for following and subscribing.